Great. Welcome, everybody, to Digital Asset News. My name is Rob, and today we got a couple of things to go over, which I found quite fascinating. The first thing we're going to talk about is how Celsius is looking to be bought out by FTX. Now, these are just rumors about what's going on, but I think there's a little bit truth to the story, and where there's smoke, there's fire, as FTX also was a successful launch or auction of Voyager. Also, we're going to talk about paying attention to projects that are actually building the bear market, more specifically Genso and Sweat. And also, we're all do a wallet use comparison and a subtle reminder of just how enormously biased I am on this channel. And lastly, we'll talk about a Q&A plus a little El Paso meetup for those in the area. So let's just jump right in. The first things first. Celsius and FTX. And this is, it looks like a pretty reasonable article about what could potentially happen. I think these are the good things that could potentially come down. So we talked yesterday about how Voyager was successfully auctioned to FTX as Sam Bakeman-Fried just swooped in yet again and bought that up. And now they're looking at Celsius. The question I have, though, is this good for the crypto market in general? So here's what's going on in a nutshell. So Celsius is, oh, and one real quick thing before I get going. Blockworks is a great website. If you want to check them out, blockworks.co, they've got some of the best information, good reporting and things like that, because one of these things I was not aware of, the very first sentence. Celsius former CEO Alex Mashinsky's resignation came about after a committee representing the crypto lenders' creditors called for his removal. Now, I knew about Alex Mashinsky being ousted, him stepping down as a CEO of Celsius. However, what I was not aware of was that the UCC stepped in and go, look, you got problems, which means we got problems, which means you got to go, which means that Celsius's CEO, Alex, had to step down. And I think it was a good move. It was a great move. I don't see how they could possibly go forward because no one trusts Alex. I don't know if there's people out there like, yeah, sounds like a good business plan. I just didn't see it actually happening. So it was interesting that the UCC said, you need to step down or we'll make you step down, essentially. And that's what happened. So the committee pursued an investigation into Mashinsky and other company insiders, including their problematic asset deployment decisions. And I think more information is going to come out in the Chapter 11 bankruptcy case, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, it looks like there was just some poor mismanagement, maybe some uncollateralized loans, which is the same thing that brought down Voyager to Three Arrows Capital, but this is just speculation. Upon review, the committee found that retaining Mashinsky as CEO was unacceptable and not in the best interest of the estates, and that new leadership was vital. Well, yeah. Mashinsky continues to hold the direct position in Celsius. Oh, yeah, real quick. Mashinsky continues to hold the director position at Celsius's parent company. So it's not like he got ousted all the way and he's just sitting in his house waiting for things to happen. He's still there. But CFO Chris Ferraro was appointed interim CEO and chief restructuring officer. And there was supposed to be a YouTube live stream from the Celsius committee, which was supposed to be live today, which it was. And the Celsius Official Committee of Unsecured Creditors had a live YouTube stream, which I thought was quite interesting. And you can show the thread. But if you went to the live stream today like I did, you can't find it anymore. It is now private. You missed it. And why did they put it as private? I'm going to tell you why. Because they couldn't figure out how to use Zoom. So this was me recording on my phone as I was watching these guys fumble through it. I'm like, sweet baby Jesus, I cannot believe that we don't have people in this day and age who can figure out how to use a microphone in Zoom, but they couldn't do it. Not to say that that's like the most awful thing, but if this is an omen, things are not looking good. So I just sat here for about 20 minutes just watching these guys stare at me and I stare at them, and nothing really got answered. So if you're looking for that video, that's what happened. Anyhow, this is the good stuff. FTX is waiting in the wings to scoop up Celsius's assets. FTX, which is looking to raise $1 billion, it seems like Sam Bakeman-Fried has like a bottomless pit of money, is now reportedly weighing a bid for assets belonging to Celsius. The as yet undisclosed funding round was confirmed by Bloomberg on Tuesday, citing a person familiar with both the raise and the acquisition bid. So again, I'm not for sure how reputable that is, but that is what we have right there. So moving on, hopefully this actually happens. It was later revealed Celsius had fallen victim to a run-in-the-bank scenario when users became disillusioned with both the firm and the market downturn. I got to tell you, I don't think it's just that. that it was just a run on the bank. Because if you take a look at a website, it's called Nomics, nomics.com, link in the description. You can see that here's the top crypto exchanges. You got Binance, and 24-hour volume was almost 80 billion. OKX, almost 19 billion. Coinbase, 2 billion. Bybit, pretty good, 15 billion. FTX, moving up there, 12 billion. KuCoin, and so on and so forth. There's been FUD campaigns against these. I remember there's been FUD campaigns against Binance about all the different hacks that are going on, about Coinbase and how for their terms of service, if they went bankrupt, that everything will belong to them. Same thing that happened with Celsius. And we've had FUD campaigns and people have gone there and taken their funds out. They still seem to be making it okay. So I don't think it's just a run on the bank. I think there were some really poor decisions down the road and it led to a collapse. So I'm not going to buy the run on the bank scenario. By July, the lender had fallen deep in the red with $4.7 billion owed and 100,000 creditors. Some creditors lent the firm cash without any collateral to secure obligations. Huge mistake. Bakeman Fried's trading firm Alameda Research is among those listed as one of the leader's top 50 unsecured creditors. So Sam's like, well, you owe us money. I might as well just pour money into it and then own everything. At its peak, Celsius had managed around $8 billion in crypto loans. That's a pretty fast build, with around 11 or almost 12 billion in assets, and served around roughly 1.7 million users as of May 2022. And I tip of the hat. That's great marketing. That's great planning. Unfortunately, the execution was extremely poor, and here we are. The thing that I concern myself with, and I think this might concern you, is this a good outcome for the crypto sphere? So get into it as Sam Bakeman-Fried just starts to gobble up everything. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that which we will never know about. And one of those things is there was a little snippet or a clip that was sent to me. I think it was BitBoy. It was complaining about SBF and the things that are going on behind the scenes and the different connections that he has with politicians. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But as a quick reminder for everybody out there, do you know who was a pretty big contributor and actually visited the White House? The President Joe Biden. It was this guy, Sam Bakeman-Fried. Also, who donated? Chris Larson, Paul Tudor Jones, and some other people I don't know. So just so you know, oh wow, Judy Diamond, the wife of Jamie Dimon, contributed there. Look at that. Elizabeth Miller. Okay. So just so you know, the question is this good for crypto? I can't answer that definitively. But here's the thing. Can we change anything about that? Can we go on there and say, you shouldn't do this, you should do this? We can make our voices heard. But sometimes we have to worry about the things that we can change and accept the things that we can't and just ride that wave. So if SBF is going to come in and buy out Celsius, somebody will say, that's awful and that's this and that. But inevitably, it'll probably happen and we'll move forward. And for me, I just look at the things that I can change and I can't. And that's just one of those things. So let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And now let's quickly talk about projects that are building in the bear market, because I need you to pay attention, because I think as we come out of this bear, good things will happen. First up, Genso Kishi is now being listed on Bybit, and their token for round, whatever they call it. And this is a project that we had covered over on our second channel, Dan Degen. And of course, again, Bybit, if we take a look at Nomics, pretty big, 15 billion 24-hour volume. So good for Genso Kishi as they move forward into that metaverse play and play to earn, all that great stuff. Also, another one, Sweat, as I've talked about this in general, well, actually extensively, I must admit, for quite some time. And this was a good article that talks about what it's doing. Just know, staking is offered up to 12%. The Sweat Wall is offering FIFA World Cup packages, 3,000 gift cards, Amazon gift cards, NFTs, and soon will offer increasing minting limits, 50% of transaction fees, Sweatcoin premium subscriptions, governance rights, exclusive access to Discord. And then also, they have fiat on-ramp and testing. So they're going to be a legit crypto exchange. Here's the revenue streams. User engagement. They got a learn to earn, had 815,000 participants and 2 million people went and looked into the few and far NFT offer. And business to consumer, it's developing full wall functionality with staking live, fiat on-ramp, NFT games, and crypto exchange coming soon. And then 2 weeks into the Sweat's life, or the token generation event, it's already 5% more difficult. Which is why I was harping on everybody 2 months ago to download the app, because it was free. Just download the app. It's still free. And of course, for every 1,000 steps, you get a sweat token. And now, just a month later, or 2 weeks, excuse me, now it's 1,050 steps. And then next year, it's going to be, where are we at? 2023, 1,000 steps is going to get you a third of a sweat coin. So you need to walk 3,000 steps, and then 20%, and so on and so forth. So just let you know that's what's going on. And lastly, this would be the thing I'd like to talk about: wallet comparisons. And again, with Sweat app, 120 million global users of its Sweatcoin app distributed their Web3 Sweat token to 13.5 million token holders. Sweat app became the #1 most downloaded finance app in 51 countries. Over 2 million users downloaded and activated the Sweat wallet app within 72 hours of that token generation event. It's the second most DApp across all the chains. When we launched Sweat app, reached the #1 finance in 51 countries and 5 finance apps in 115 countries, blah, blah, blah. What I just found this fascinating was that they got 2 million downloaded and active wallet users. If you take a look at, and you can find this is a free website called Looking at Bitcoin. I'm always blabbing about this one too. The Bitcoin active addresses, number of addresses on the Bitcoin blockchain, either sent or received transactions, the 7-day moving average for daily fluctuations. You know, it's only about 1,895,403. It's just interesting. I just found that interesting that they have that many. And then there's also another one I like to take a look at: Bitcoin wallet addresses greater than 1 Bitcoin. About 900,000. So like, we talk about these things and it's moving the right direction. But gosh, when I take a look at like what's happening with Web3 and play to earn gaming and NFTs, there's a lot of active wallets, things going on. Anyhow, let me just think about that in the comment section. And before you say anything, let me remind you, I'm super biased about the things I talk about. I just am. And the reason I talk about it is because I invest into them. If I didn't invest in a Bitcoin, I probably wouldn't talk about it that much, but I do. If I didn't invest in Ethereum, I wouldn't talk about it that much either. But I did invest in the Genso, Kishi, Everdome, Fame, and Sweatcoin. And you can find the deep dives that I did. There's a link in the description. It's called the DGen sheet. And it links you to this public spreadsheet, which talks about when I talked about it, how much I purchased it for, the amount of tokens obtained, all-time high price today as things are slipping, and off you go. So before you say, but Rob, why do you talk so much about that? Because I invested into it, and that's it. And the last thing I will say about this, Rob, why aren't you dumping all your coins? It's because I was an early investor, and there's this thing called a cliff. So with Sweatcoin, I don't receive any Sweatcoins until 12 months later. And I can't really cash out until 12 to 24 months. So that's what's going on in the news. So look, that's it for today. If you liked, that actually concludes the news. We did, wow, we were really fast, 13 minutes, pretty good. So that's it for the news. If you got to take off, take off. You've been here for 13 minutes. I'm sure there's other things you want to do today. But if you want to stick around, we're going to do the Q&A right now. I'll go over all your questions and answer them the best of my abilities. And we'll go from there. So if you got to take off, take off. Thanks for coming by. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out. Now let's jump into a little Q&A. And also, El Paso meetup will be next week on Wednesday. Time and place will be revealed next week. But I need to say bye to everybody. Excuse me. Before I head back to Puerto Rico. So that's what's going on. Let's get into Q&A.